I'm going to answer just some, like, about me questions. I need to take a break from deep existential stuff for a little bit. First question is, what would you change about yourself physically? Well, I talked about my face for an entire hour in a video called My Face. That was all just about the sort of negative relationship that I've had with this thing that the universe has chosen to represent me. Now, it's not nearly as negative as it used to be, but, you know, it is still a day-to-day struggle, which is a silly thing to talk about. I mean, I'm sure that from an outsider's perspective, like hearing anybody talk about like their negative features just feel like nothing in comparison to your own, right? We are always going to be able to look at somebody else's appearance and be like, yeah, no, I would definitely take that one more than this one because that one doesn't seem to have nearly as many flaws as mine. But we all know that it's just because we know our flaws better than anybody else's. Like, that's the whole reason, is that we get to see this thing every single day, so we know what is, quote, wrong about it better than anybody, because the truth is nobody is paying that close of attention to us. And if they are paying that close of attention to us, they probably have already got some kind of pull toward us in the first place. So they're probably not nitpicking everything about our appearance. And if they are looking that closely at us and they are nitpicking everything about our appearance, then they are the people that really need to reconsider themselves, not us for having a face that we just, you know, were given by genetics that we had no control over. My point through all this is that the work to accept myself physically, in terms of just like appearance, has been a long one. And it is a challenge that I realize I'm going to probably be facing for most of my life in some way or another. And I would like to think that I would still be game for that challenge, even if somebody magically offered me something to change just my aesthetics. Like if a genie pops up and, you know, offers me the ability to completely change my face, I'd like to think that I'd say, you know, I put so much work into being okay with this that I would rather it just be what I have from now on. I'd like to think that. I, of course, don't know. And I mean, I never will, because I will never be presented with a magical genie. Although maybe now that Will Smith isn't getting any work, maybe he could actually, you know, do some method work and become the genie that he was always meant to be. Yeah. I don't want to talk about anything that I want to change just from an aesthetic purpose. Now, that being said, I think that there are some things that I might change for, like, medical reasons, just because that could lead me to living a more physically prosperous life, you know, throughout more of my life. One of those things is my back. I have scoliosis, and I got it corrected when I was 15 years old, but I still have a little bit of scoliosis. So not only do I have a little bit of a curve in my spine still, but I also have metal in my spine still that completely, like some vertebrae are completely fused. I cannot bend over with those vertebrae. I'm not completely inflexible. Yoga is really important for me. Just maintenance of my flexibility is really important, and I haven't been doing so great at that lately. But yeah, it is always going to be something that affects me. Having an uneven weight distribution in your body and having limited motion in it is a problem, and it will probably just be more of a problem as I get older. My friend said something to me last year that I had to take a second to take in, was like, from here, it is only going to get harder. And that's really interesting. It's true. It's true. My body, for all the maintenance I could ever do on it, even if I had a personal trainer and I didn't have to work and I could just do things that were perfectly good for sustaining this thing, I mean, the body naturally wears down in any case. Like, it's just going to happen. Yeah, so I would like to do something that would make that process not as bad, and that would be straighten my spine out. Also, if I straightened out my spine, I would probably gain like a solid inch of height, and then I finally cracked the 6 feet. Everybody always thinks I'm 6 feet. I am not. I am 5'11". With shoes on, I'm probably around 6 feet, you know, depending on the shoes. And I said 6 feet for a long time, and then I had somebody kind of shoo me out. She's like, "Are you perhaps estimating? Are you rounding up there?" I'm like, "No." And then I went home and measured myself, and yeah, I totally was. She's like, "Don't worry about it. It's a guy thing. All guys do that." And then another thing is that just in terms of physical, like medical things, I do have a deviated septum, and that is something that I might get corrected someday. And that will, if I do get rhinoplasty, nose job, whatever you want to call it, I mean, I can say that the intent is for medical purposes, and I mean it is, because I mean, hey, goodbye to headaches and nosebleeds and sleep apnea. And of course, I will reap the benefits of the aesthetic benefit, the aesthetic improvement. And that is going to be a compromise from what I have been doing in terms of radical self-acceptance, of really just accepting this face. It will feel like I cheated just a little bit, and it will be hard for me to completely reconcile that. I'll obviously figure out a way to do it. And obviously, I'm not going to complain that I have like a more conventionally attractive nose, but it will just be a thing. It will just be a thing. But, you know, those are like two big things that I wish could be more like magically transformed. But like, I mean, I guess in some ways I would like to be a naturally more muscular person, but I can build muscle pretty easily. I'm still skinny, like I'm a skinny muscular person, but like I can make myself look pretty good with not too much work, thankfully. I do have sort of an aesthetic cheat body. But I mean, I really want to get back in the gym. I really want to get back to weightlifting. I felt so good about myself a year ago when I was doing that consistently. And on it, like I said, it doesn't take very long of me doing it. It's just, what is it? It is that first time getting back in the gym that's always very difficult. It's that first time of being like, okay, we fell off the path and now we get back on it and we're way farther back on the path than we were when we fell off. But that's how it goes. That's how it goes. Yeah, and what's the alternative? The alternative is to never get on it ever again and to have that fall off be the eternal fall off, which of course is not something that I want. I was looking up Mork and Mindy recently, and I forgot. This is one last thing I would change about myself physically, is that Robin Williams, who also played a genie, weird connection there, he could suck up liquid with his fingers from a cup. That'd be very convenient. Less of a choking hazard.